Hello everyone, I want to go ahead and go over a number of tools focused around curves. To create a curve, make sure you are in an orthographic camera. In this case, I'm currently in my top. And to create a curve, come up to Create, Curve Tools, and CV Curve Tool. I'm going to go ahead and open up the dialog box. Within the dialog box, you're typically only ever going to use either 1 linear or 3 cubic. With 3 cubic, what will happen is as you draw, the curve actually starts to average out between the points, which essentially means it's going to give you a nice, smooth curve. With 1 linear, if you draw points, you'll notice the curve stays completely flat or linear between every single point. So you can actually get very hard corners. Now, after you have drawn this, you can still edit positions after the fact by right-clicking, which will open up this marking menu to control vertex. Here, you can grab these points and make any changes you need. You can delete points with just using the delete button. And if you move to a different camera, then come in here and start translating it into a different direction. You can use your soft selection as well by holding or clicking the B button to turn on soft select, and then middle mouse dragging. If you want to add points, you can right click on the curve, go up to curve point, and then start clicking. Now by default, every time you click, it's going to just put a single little yellow dot, but this isn't actually creating a point. So you can hold shift and start clicking multiple times, and think of this almost like a temporary position of where you want these. And when you are happy with your results and you want to actually bake this into the curve, you can come up here to curves. I'm going to go ahead and dock this so I don't have to keep opening it, and click insert knot. Now when I right click this and go to control vertex, notice how I have all of these additional points that I just created. Now depending on how you drew this, notice how some of these have a larger distance between those, and where I had made a bunch of additional points, there's a lot smaller gaps between them. You can use rebuild near the bottom, and rebuild can actually allow you to uniformly lay down points. So notice when I look at this really quick, you can see how these are pretty uneven. I'm going to go ahead and reset these really quick and set this number span to 50. When I hit apply, it will then put about 50 points, and it's going to try and make them as evenly spaced out as it can. Likewise, still under this tool, you can still change between 3 cubic or 1 linear, just like when you first created the curve. So notice how I can actually switch back and forth between the two. If you have multiple curves that you need to combine, so let's say I draw one additional one. In order to combine a curve, you can select the 2 curves and click attach. And what's going to happen is it's going to decide to connect the 2 certain edges. Notice how I was actually hoping it would connect these 2 and ended up picking a different one. You can use these reverse 1 and reverse 2 by switching them around until you get the connection that you wanted. So just like that, now it is connecting in the fashion that I was hoping for. And if you look in the outliner, I still actually have the 2 originals and the 1 new curve. So I'll go ahead and delete those original ones. If you ever want to separate a curve, you can right click, come up to curve point, add one of these little yellow dots, and click detach. And now I have 2 separate curves. If you have a curve that is open, like this, where I have an endpoint and an endpoint, and you want to close this, there is an open close button. So notice how that now seals it up, and you can use this to open or close it at any point. Go ahead and delete this curve and create a brand new one. I'm going to go ahead and draw a short curve and show what lock and unlock length does. So by default, everything is set to unlocked. This means that when I drag this point around, it actually moves how we've been doing so just like before. However, if I turn on lock and now grab one of these, it'll actually lock as if it is a real object. The length isn't actually changing. One last way I want to show how to create curves is you can actually create curves from geometry. So let's say I come up here to create polygon mesh platonic solid. You can actually select an edge loop to be a curve. So I'm just going to randomly click a couple different edge loops. I am making sure this edge loop is completely connected. And I'm going to come up here to modify, convert, and polygon edges to curve. Click here and notice how it created this curve.